So I took this photo in Iceland a couple years ago, and I want to do a few things to it. First, I want to darken the sky to make it a little stormier and meaner looking. And then I want to paint on my grass and make it a little bit brighter in some areas. So this is commonly referred to as dodging and burning. And there's several methods to do this, but I'm going to show you my favorite method in Photoshop. I prefer using Photoshop for this versus Lightroom because I have more control of where I paint my light. So there's just a couple steps here. The first thing I'm going to do is create two new layers on top of my background layer by pushing Command J twice. So now over in my layers palette, I have two new copies of those layers of my background layer, layer 1 and layer 1 copy. If you click on layer 1, I'm going to change the blend mode of this layer to multiply. Now you can't see the effects of that blend mode because my layer 1 copy is on top of my layer 1. So if I turn that layer off, I can see that the multiply blend mode darkens my entire photograph. Okay, I don't want to darken everything in my photograph, and I don't want it that dark. So I'm going to cover up this effect by creating a mask. So I'm going to hold down the Option key and click on the Create New Mask icon down at the bottom. And that creates a mask filled with black and covers up that effect of the multiply mode. Now I'm going to click on my top mode, on my top layer, and change the blend mode of this layer to screen. And this is going to brighten my entire image. Again, I want to cover this effect up by creating a mask by holding my Option key down and then clicking on Create a New Mask button there. And now that brightness is gone. So now I can rename these layers. This bottom one I'm going to name Darken. If I can spell right. Okay. I still can't spell that right. Darken. And this top layer I'm going to call Brighten. And now if I paint on these two masks with white, with my paintbrush, I can darken where I want to darken my photograph. And if I go in my brighten mask, I can brighten my photograph. So let's first darken the sky. So I'm clicking my dark mask. I push B for my brush tool. And you can resize the brush tool by pushing your right and left bracket keys. So I'm pushing the right bracket key to make it bigger and the left bracket key to make it smaller. Get a nice size brush. And in my toolbar at the options bar at the top, I'm going to put my opacity around 22% here so that it doesn't darken the sky totally. And then I just paint on my sky, especially on the dark parts of my clouds, to make them stormier and meaner looking. Once you lift your mouse and click again, the opacity increases, and then I can make that even darker. So I'm kind of avoiding my bright areas of my sky and darkening my dark areas. Okay, I think I'll get this area a little bit darker to make it a little meaner looking. And that's looking pretty good. Now I'm going to go to my brighten mask, and now I can brighten parts of my scene here by making a smaller brush, and then I can paint on the grass in the background here. Brighten it up, maybe the cemetery, make it a little lighter. I can even go the doors of the church, make them brighter. The windows maybe. Perhaps the wall, I'll make it a little bit bigger here. Paint on my wall. Maybe this area in the foreground here. Wherever you like, wherever you want to paint. You're just painting with light here into my scene, adding a little more contrast to my photograph. Makes it more dynamic looking, and you get some nice effects of light. Get the idea? Okay, obviously I just did this very quickly. This is not my finished product, but it gives you an idea how you can dodge and burn in Photoshop. If you want to see your before and after effects, just hold your Option key down and click on the bottom eyeball next to your background layer, and you can see your before and your after. You can see with just a couple of minutes here, I made a huge dynamic effect on my photograph. Thanks for joining me. I'm Scotty Graham, and see you later.